and Coordination of National Government has issued a 90-day moratorium for mandatory vetting of civilian firearm holders. A statement sent to Newsroom reads that the ministry is deeply concerned by the procedural improprieties that have crept into the oversight of gun ownership and use by private citizens. As part of the radical measures taken to curb gun menace, the Firearms Licensing Board shall begin rigorous verification exercise of all firearm certificates in the country beginning December the 17th, 2018 till March the 17th, 2019. The board will also establish, maintain and monitor a centralized electronic register of all private citizens holding firearms. Now here now is what every civilian firearm holder needs to do. Let's move on. The Lands Cabinet Secretary, Faridah Karoney, is in Laikipia County, where she is scheduled to meet stakeholders over the emotive land issues that have in the past marred the county. The Cabinet Secretary met elected leaders this morning. Laikipia County has seen many conflicts over the ownership of its expansive parcels of land that hold ranches and host pastoral communities. The visit by the Cabinet Secretary seeks to find opinion from stakeholders before the Ministry of Land rolls out a titling program as was directed by President Uhuru Kenyatta. It is currently ongoing, so let's cross over to Laikipia County live and listen in.
Parcel of land is reserved for industry. This area is reserved for farming. This one is reserved for whatever it is. So it's a conversation we need to have at a more technical level in terms of planning. Because you can't just wake up one day and say there's no more subdivision. You have to have an instrument to help you control it. NYS land, that land that belongs to another state department, I will undertake to consult with the Ministry of Youth and Public Service, because yes, I agree with you, Madam Sarah, that people should use their lands for what they were given to use it for. Because idle land is the reason why we have a lot of squatters in the country. Because we have a very bad culture in our country. When you see vacant land, I think as Kenyans we have the temptation to go and occupy it. So I think people should just use land for what they were intended for, and we'll consult with the Ministry of Public Service. You requested that we settle squatters in VetLab and ADC land. That's also, I cannot give an answer right here, but we will consult. I acknowledge the problem of squatters, so we will consult and see how to go about it. We will consult both at the national government and with the county government. Then we'll come back, hopefully when we come back to start the titling program in January, we'll have an answer on what we can do as a way forward. Kwambuzi, I think there's a task force already handling that. County Commissioner, correct me if I'm wrong. They are handling that because after the meeting with the National Land Commission, it was agreed that we do find alternative settlement, and I think that process is ongoing. So they will update us when they get the final result. I think I've responded to the main issues, such as I think that will be sorted out by reorganization of the registry. The reason why your searches are taking forever is the sorry state of our record keeping. They are very poorly kept. So once the PS, you give the money and they are reorganized, it should be fairly straightforward. But going forward, we want to digitize. In fact, the registry we are opening at Rumuruti will be a digital registry, so that you don't have to come to the office, you can print your own search. So that going forward will try and fast-track the digitization program. Capacity building, I think we'll just build capacity for the office that I think I've already spoken to. All the other issues are to do with the settlements and titling, and that is why we are here. Our objective is just like your objective, to title every parcel in Kenya that is not registered. We have no reason, 55 years after independence, that only 30% of our country is titled. It doesn't make sense. It really does not make sense. So we just need to work together to make sure that we bring that to 100%. What reason do we have 55 years after independence to have land which is not registered? It doesn't make sense, really. So it's our objective as much as it is your objective. So that I don't think we are going to argue about it, because it is in our best interest. And by the way, we have only 3 targets as a ministry, which is titling, and the president follows it personally. So that's one area that we can't kusleki, because the chief every day is asking, how far are you from your target? So that is one area we'll work together to conclude. The other area is, of course, digitization. One way to control fraud in land is to digitize records and put them on a secure digital platform. The reason why fraudsters are able to manipulate records is because they can walk away with the whole file. And they can go and do whatever they want with it without you tracing what happened. But if that record is on a digital form, if you alter anything, there's an audit trail telling you did ABC with this parcel. So digitization is one of those things we really want to do going forward, and we'll be looking up to you, Governor, for support. And the third is to work with Parliament to create the right legal framework so that our laws on land and land management are aligned. We shall also be requesting the county government to support us in implementing the national land use policy, which is what we were talking about. Zoning your county so that you know which part of the county is supposed to be for which activity. That way you can control all these developments. I think outside what I have said, I may not have captured in great detail what everybody said, but that is why we are requesting for memoranda, so that your concerns are formally documented with the ministry. And I think we can give you the same 10 days, so that by the time we come back on the 19th, we have all your memoranda. Is that a reasonable time for everybody? So we give you 10 days? Yes? Or you can come with them on the 19th, actually. You can either send them or come with them on that 19th. Then we use the rest of the year to document them, and we start the formal process of actually working in January. Once again, I thank you very much for making time and for being truthful in your feedback. In some places you go, people do a lot of PR. They don't tell you what the issue is, but when you leave, they start talking about it. But I'm happy that you've been candid in your feedback. I thank you very much.
Well, that has been Lands Cabinet Secretary.
All right, the Lands Cabinet Secretary, Faridah Karoney, there meeting various stakeholders in Laikipia County. As we well know, in the past, the county has been marred by various land disputes, and all this is in a bid to actually align the ministry with what President Uhuru Kenyatta had mentioned about the issuance of title deeds. We'll definitely keep you updated. But let's turn to the fight against graft now. And a multi-agency forum is currently on in Parliament, involving the Senate Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, the Attorney General, among other players. Meanwhile, the Ethics and